Today we're going to discuss if it makes sense for you to suppress your SBRs. So most commonly, if you see an 11.5, 12.5, or 10.3 inch rifle, they're usually running a suppressor. Does that make sense for everybody? It really depends. So when it comes to putting a suppressor on a gun, the two main criteria that I weigh, do a pro and con list, are length and weight. So anytime you add a suppressor, obviously you're extending the length of the overall platform of the rifle, and you're adding weight at the very, very front end of the rifle. So in some situations it definitely makes sense, and then in some others I don't think it makes sense at all. So that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. So most gun guys, as they progress through gun ownership, it usually starts off something like 16 inch, just standard AR-15, and then it progresses into a short barrel rifle, tax stamps, and then you throw a suppressor on it. Well, in some situations, I think it's best to keep a short barrel rifle unsuppressed. And the main use case that I'm thinking about is with your truck gun type setup. So I have right here, which is technically a pistol, but we all know the pistol brace phenomenon, the legality surrounding it. But as of today, pistol braces are legal, and you can put one on an 11.5 inch AR upper just like this, and it's perfectly legal. You can cross state lines with it. You don't have to file any extra paperwork. So for the purpose of this video, we'll just consider this in the category of short barrel rifle. But if you have a setup like this that is legal to cross state lines without filing any additional paperwork, I think it would make no sense to put a suppressor on this setup, because then if you want to cross state lines, you live next to a state, you go into the beach or anything like that, then you have to worry about filing additional paperwork just to travel across state lines, when you could just keep it in this configuration, keep it in your truck under the seat or whatever, and just not have to worry about it. Just go about your business like normal. So that would be the main reason I would say to not suppress a rifle this short. If you compare these two, I run mine with the stock fully extended. You can see the size difference between the unsuppressed and the suppressed. So when you're comparing it, it's not that much of a difference. But for some people, they want the shortest, most compact package possible, and there's really nothing wrong with that. Again, it just comes down to personal preference. The biggest reason I would say for suppressing your short barrel rifle is the ability to run a rifle suppressed that is the same overall length as your standard 16 inch rifle. So right here we have a 16 inch AR, again, stock fully extended. And you can see that the 16 inch is about 1.5 inches longer than your suppressed AR. So the benefit of suppressing the 11.5 inch compared to suppressing the 16 inch is that when you suppress the short barrel rifle, all that weight is not even further out there on the rifle. So if you were to put a suppressor on this, which I have a suppressor, I'll install it here in a second, you already have a 16 inch barrel, and then you have a suppressor at the very end of that 16 inches, which is just adding weight at the forwardmost point, which, at the end of the day, it's not like a big thing. I mean, just go to the gym, bro, get stronger. But, for some people, if you carry a rifle for a living, like SWAT or law enforcement or something like that, at the end of the day, that really strains your arms and your shoulder muscles and all that. And, if you need to take a critical shot or something and you're fatigued, how much is that going to affect your shot process? So that's just something else to think of. At the end of the day, none of these are like life and death, reasons to or not to run a suppressor. But it's just all the things that I've thought about when I'm deciding what guns I want to suppress compared to other ones. You get the idea of just how long this rifle is compared to my 11.5 SBR with a suppressor. It's a pretty considerable difference in length. So that's a big reason why people like to suppress these shorter rifles, just because the overall package is shorter, more maneuverable, lighter, all those benefits. And the difference is even more pronounced when you're comparing a non-suppressed SBR like this one right here. For my setups personally, I do like to run a suppressor. I just like the signature reduction, felt recoil is reduced a little bit, and it's just an overall more pleasant shooting experience. There's just a lot of pros to running a suppressor, and I think if you train with one and you have one that you dedicate to your primary setup like I have on this one, and you just get used to it, it's really not that big of a deal with the added length and the added weight. So when I take this suppressor off of my primary AR right here, it just feels really, really light and a little bit more maneuverable, but I'm not used to this configuration. I'm used to it being set up with this can, and this is what my muscle memory is used to, the added weight on the end of this. To wrap this one up, I would say just do some thinking and think about your use cases, what you are not going to be doing with the gun, and make the decision based on that. It's fun to look at Instagram and YouTube, your favorite gun tuber. Probably not me, because we hadn't made it yet, but most people, they love the cool suppressors, the short barrels, all this kind of stuff. But think about what works the best for you in your situation. What Grand Thumb runs may not be what I need to run. I have thought of my needs, and I have built this rifle based on those, and it works perfectly for me. But that being said, it may not work perfectly for you. For some people, this may be the ideal option. So do the due diligence, do the thought process, think out any scenario you may need, and build your rifle based on that. Hope you guys got something out of this video. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. Drop us a like and hit that subscribe button if you will. We'll see you guys in the next one.